Okay, we can finally get back to work. Happy Friday, everyone. I was just about to make a video and tell you guys what's going on, and then my sister called. We're working on upgrading phones and stuff within the family, so got that all squared away. So the good news is, in future weeks here, I'll have a new phone, and so potentially maybe better video and stuff. So anyway, I was up at the shop earlier today. I made up a hammer form. So one of these days we can start working on making a new toolbox door out of the material there. Got our couple of body hammers in so I can tink 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 bend them over. Got some dollies if we need them. I was also looking at this front, called a seal surface again, trying to remove it. I'm pretty sure it's threaded on, and I'm pretty sure it's just a regular right hand thread, not a left hand thread. But it seems to be on there pretty tight. So what I might do is actually put it back up on the tractor temporarily, so I have a good solid foundation, basically, to something to. Because what I was doing, I was putting like a hammer, soft hammer, in between the crankshaft and the block, a big wrench, and trying to loosen it. But the whole block is moving on me because it's just sitting on the bench here. So I might, like I said, put it up in the actual tractor. I kind of want to put it up there anyway, just to see it in there. Try out my new engine leveler. But then I got sidetracked. We might as well just call this sidetrack channel Swanson Sidetrack or something. Because I was looking at the timing marks, and I'm thinking that, when that timing mark is lined up there, that this timing mark would be locating the governor gear, so that's timed properly. So in return, your magneto can be timed properly. So I got sidetracked on that, and then I got to thinking about governors and the gears on there. So I dug out my governors and magneto and coupler, and I also got a package in the mail this week from Matt. He got my new old original arm fixed up for me, so I'll have to try to swap that out. And if you remember, it's the one that came with the magneto with the cut off ear on the back side, where this interferes with the mounting bracket otherwise. So we can work on that one of these days. I was looking at the coupler because I got that sandblasted up last week. It's a little bit loose on the mag because of it being worn. If I can get a shot here. Switch hands. So it's a little worn there. So I'll have to consider if I'm going to do anything about that. And then I got to thinking, okay, well, how does that work with the governor? And then looking at the timing gears. And then it dawned on me, well, I got to show you guys the big surprise that I promised many weeks back. I just haven't got around to yet because I keep working on other things. So this is a pretty interesting surprise I got. My buddy Scott, contacted me and let me know that he had a few 612 parts in his parts bins that he's been cleaning out. So we made a deal, and I bought what he had from him. So this is the arm for the clutch here, and I don't need it. It's just a spare, just to have a spare, because when you find 612 parts available, basically, if the price is realistic, you should probably buy them, because parts for 612s are pretty much non-existent. I also have the governor pivot linkage arm there. Again, I don't need it, but it's good to have spare just in case. And the thing that I really was after when we started talking about what he had for parts was that he found this governor that he had, and honestly he didn't really know exactly what it was for. It's been sitting on the shelf for years, and he's seen me talking in my video about the governors that I did have, and he goes, huh, that looks awful familiar. So he dug it out, and he sent me a few pictures, and we, like I said, agreed on a price, and I said, I'll take it. Because, to my knowledge, these ones are power unit governors. This one for sure is with the pulley in the front. This one, I don't know exactly for sure, because it does have the right kind of gear, like the tractor one. But they're all a little bit different. The way the linkage for the top here, this is where you control the linkage from here goes back to your throttle control by the steering wheel. This is what's adjusting your governor. So those linkages are all a little bit different between the three. The arms are different lengths. This one's broken. The oiling is different, and the castings are different. Whereas this one, and all the tractor ones, have the hand oiler, drip oiler, whatever you want to call it. And looking at all the pictures and stuff I could find, it looks like all the tractor ones have this particular casting. And the power unit stuff tend to have these ones. So I'm thinking this is actual tractor governor for a 612. Why it's orange is up for debate. It's a possibility, small possibility this might be like an NOS part that's sat on the shelf for years. I'm kind of leaning towards, I think it might have been like a rebuilt unit that sat on the shelf for years. Because it doesn't seem to be like brand new, but it's pretty dirty yet, and I haven't even cleaned it up or anything yet. But just based on like the bolts and stuff, it doesn't look like old original. They're newer hardware as opposed to the thick-headed bolts on these ones. So I'm thinking it was something somebody had rebuilt, and then it just never got used after that, would be my guess at this point. Like instead of an actual cotter pin, somebody had a piece of wire in here, so it's not quite like factory perfect stuff. Somebody's been in this messing with it, I think. So one of these days I'll have to open this up as well, because I'm gonna completely go through this as well. I'm not going to assume that it's good on the inside. I'm hoping, but I don't know. So I'll open it up and at the very least check everything, clean everything, and then put it back together. Make sure it's sealed up properly and whatever, so it's not going to leak oil. But one thing I did just discover today is that the couplers are different. This will not work on this governor. These tangs are wider. They will, it's like it's designed for these ones. These tangs are narrower. They're worn. This is worn as well, but it's designed for that size, that width tang or ear, whatever you want to call it. And this one is the same. So, and then also, I'll probably be able to confirm which is right for a tractor by measuring from here to here is a different measurement than from here to here, because this is different than this. So that's another reason I kind of want to put the engine in the tractor so I can kind of mock up a few things as well. I can put the governor in, put the mag on, check out my distances in between. Is this even the right coupler? Is this the right governor? There's a lot of variables at this point. Like I've said before, there's a lot of things, since I'm at the point now where I'm putting together things that I didn't take apart, and I don't even know for sure if some of these parts are correct, there's a lot of head scratching involved. So, but I think, like I said, I'll have to read through the manual one of these nights, but I think when you put it in here, you just line up that mark on the governor gear with these marks, and I'm guessing that times everything appropriately. So yeah, I think that's all I know at the moment. But I thank Matt for contacting me on all this stuff, giving me the opportunity to buy this stuff, because it definitely is going to help this restoration. I'm so happy to have this correct casting for the governor. So like I've mentioned before, I have no affiliation with Matt as far as, sponsored or nothing, but I definitely encourage you, if you're looking for any mag work, if you're looking for any used Allis parts or NOS parts, he has lots of that kind of stuff. Be sure to look them up. Matt Scott in Jordan, Minnesota. I'll give him a thumbs up. He's a good guy to deal with. So I'll check back with you guys later, and I'll let you know when I got figured out here. We'll get something done today. Hey, I like this new engine leveler. That works slick. So I'll get ready to temporarily put it in here. I'm going to clean out these tapped holes first. Get all the excess paint on there, out of there rather. And we'll bolt her up. Hey, engine's actually in the tractor for the first time ever. Kind of exciting. Somehow it seems a little anticlimactic. You put this little tiny engine in this tractor. It just seems like such a little baby thing. Maybe we've got to put a big V8 in it or something, huh? What do you think? Pretty cool. Even if it is just temporary. And yep, that's all it took, was a more solid base. It was actually bolted in the tractor, stuck my hammer up there the same way, and this front piece is turning right off. I can do it here now one-handed when you're watching. Come on. There. I'm guessing Norm didn't have that off. Pretty dirty under there. So yeah, I suspected the gears is keyed on, and this is threaded on, just a regular right-hand thread. So what I'm thinking, I'll transfer these flats to this part and turn the rest of this down to the appropriate size. I have to study it here a little bit, but I think that should work. Let me know what you think. So while I'm mocking things up, I want to confirm that this governor is correct and is going to work. So I got it temporarily bolted in there, got the mag bracket temporarily bolted on. Now I've got to get the arm switched out on the magneto for the new half arm, so I can put the mag on the tractor to look at the clearance between the mag and governor with the coupler and whatnot. So this is where things get scary. I gotta have to take this apart and swap everything over to the new arm. And I talked with Matt, and he made it sound like it's really not that hard. So I think I can do this, but this is a little bit out of my area of expertise. That's why I send the mags off to Matt to do. So we'll see what I can do here. No laughing at me now, Matt. One step forward, two steps back. Okay, so I got at least the arm put on the magneto for now, just so I could put it on for clearance issues. I got a few small dilemmas to deal with. with all the points and whatnot, but I'm going to table that for the time being. The mag is on the bracket where it needs to be, but now we have another issue. So this coupler, obviously, we're way too short here. We got a big discrepancy here. So now I'm back to trying to figure out what is right and what is wrong here. I am assuming that this is all right. The bracket and the mag, I don't think there's any options for adjustability there. The difference comes with the distance from the front of that tang to the back of the governor. On this one, from the front of the tang to the back flange is about 6 1/4. On these other ones, that same measurement from the back of the tang to the back of the flange is about 6 3/4. So, distance-wise, I think this governor is actually correct. As far as castings and everything, I believe it looks like that is all the same. I think the only difference comes into play is this actual rear portion of the governor. So, I'll have to do some more calling around and comparing with other tractors now. What is right here? Do I gotta take, like I said, I'm pretty confident that these castings are right for the tractor as opposed to these castings. But now do I have to take, like, say, the guts of this governor and put into this casting? I'm not sure. So this is what those things I keep running into. You think you're finally getting on a roll, and then something like this comes up. So I will do some calling and texting around and see what I can come up with now. So at least this governor, the distance is approximately right. This coupler is still very loose, but it's in the ballpark of working. So yeah, I'm not sure what to make of all this. So long as I'm checking fitment on things and run into a few issues, I figured I'd check a few more things just to confirm. So I put the intake manifold on, and I figured I'd put the carburetor on and make sure there was no clearance issues or anything. That seems to work, but I did find another issue. So a previous owner put in a whatever we call those little inserts, because the threads must have been messed up or whatever. Well, they didn't use the same size 5/16 bolt though. They went down to a 1/4 inch bolt. So either I'm going to have to make a custom bolt so the heads match, or redo this to bring it back to the right size. So there's another thing on the to-do list. But at least the carburetor everything seems to be good there. Yeah, I'm just going to keep checking a few other things here just to make sure I don't have any other unknown issues. Mixing and matching parts here is proving to be interesting. And exhaust manifold, so I think everything seems to be working with that. I confirmed again my exhaust pipe and adapter flange and everything, and what we had figured out there looks like it's supposed to be correct. That's with this piece of tape here. I had taken measurements of the engine before I put it in there to figure out the exhaust pipe stuff, and it's coming right out at my previous calculations, so that all seems to be confirmed correctly. I think we'll have some lunch, and then maybe we'll figure out, take some more hard measurements of crank seal situations. I was up at Napa this morning trying to look for something else, and I was picking their brain on what they could get as far as seals, and it doesn't look like that's going to be any problem locating seals. I just gotta basically get some more hard measurements of what I want, and they should be able to get it for me. So get that ball rolling as well. Lots of things to figure out. So since I got that front seal surface off the crank, I can actually put the front cover on all the way up to the block now. Confirmed that all the holes lined up. I had to adjust a couple of minor things where Midwest Cylinder had repaired this hole. They had it off just slightly. I had to get in there with the little rotary burr on the and open it up on the one side just a little bit, very insignificant. And then I did a little bit more clearance in the casting here for this bolt head. It was very tight. The bolt head actually would have been hitting. Other than that, everything lined up really well, at least as far as front cover to block goes. We'll start looking at the pan again here now. But the one issue that I am seeing, and I'll have to take back what I said earlier, I do not believe that the front cover hole and the front crank are actually concentric. It seems like there's about 20 thou off, where there's more space on this side than this side, and a little bit same story top to bottom. So I'm not exactly sure how we're going to, it can be fixed, right? Because we got to machine this anyway to accommodate the seal, and we have to counterbore at the very least the back of the cover to accommodate the seal. So it could be fixed, but how to figure out to let the machine shop know where to machine this back cover accordingly so that ends up in the right spot. That's where I'm not sure how to go about doing that. So yeah, I'll have to think about that one. Pick the machinist's brain there a little bit. But other than that, things seem to be lining up fairly well. We did figure out what was going on here with the distance being off between the governor and the magneto. When I used the bolt holes for here, the space here was about an inch, and most people's it was like half, 3/4 of an inch maybe. So something was not adding up, and we weren't sure why, because we were pretty confident the governors are right, pretty confident the blocks are the same. Magnetos are obviously the same. Well, it turns out, make a long story short, David Dickmeyer is going through the same conversion issues using a replacement block, but he has a bunch of the actual original Allis parts as well. So he did some comparing and measuring for me with his parts, and we discovered that the difference is this mag mounting bracket. This must be a power unit bracket, where the actual Allis one, the bracket itself is about 1 inch longer here, and these holes are closer to in the center here. So that's where our approximate inch difference comes into play. So how I'm going to address that, I'm not quite sure yet. Possibly just drill a new series of holes and put a little bushing underneath here to put the mag in the correct spot to make a coupler. I don't know. I'll cross that bridge a little bit later. But for now, at least we figured out that's the issue. So I'm going to keep fitting things here, and I'll let you know what I figure out. Okay, playing around with locating this front cover a little bit. I got all the bolts loosened back up except for a couple I kind of bumped it around because there's, a little bit of play within the bolt holes because the front cover isn't dowel pinned or anything to locate it. And I got it side to side pretty darn close. It's still just up and down. Right now the cover is too low. So I'm thinking now, after further review, I think if I work on a few of these bolt holes, maybe drill them just ever so slightly oversized, I'll probably be able to get this cover located where it'll be concentric to the crankshaft and not have to do any fancy compensating in the machining, and we can just indicate it off the current existing bore in the front cover. So we'll keep playing around with this a little bit. And engine's back out. Okay, so I got the front cover pretty closely located so it's concentric with the crankshaft here. Got the pan dry fit on with some 16th inch gasket material just to simulate having a gasket in there on both sides. Those holes seem to be good. We already worked them over, but I was back at home yet, so that's still good. These front holes need to be adjusted just a little bit, but that's not really surprising because you can actually see in the side of the hole where the little bit of tap witness mark from the tap, where those holes must have just barely worked even from new. So I'll have to adjust those just a little bit, and those should be okay. This one works, but the rest of these need to be adjusted ever so slightly as well. These ones a little bit more, but it all looks like it should work. I'm pretty happy with how the front cover and the pan and everything are lining up as far as flatness there. I believe we're within a gasket material and a little bit of sealants tolerances. So I think I pretty much, once I get these holes adjusted, I can commit to putting the baffle, riveting the baffle back into the pan for good. And then I think we could actually probably think about committing to putting this assembly onto the rear plate for good at that point. So we're starting to make some progress, figure things out. Well, I'm going to call it a day here for today. I'll probably see you guys tomorrow. Happy Easter, everybody. So I was out here a few hours this afternoon, and I got all the holes adjusted in the front cover. Pretty happy with how that is. There might be a couple I might fine tune just a little bit more yet, but this seems to be coming out pretty close. Adjusted all the holes on the back of the pan here, so everything's actually together at the moment. Lightly bolted together to dry fit everything, and I'm pretty happy with how it's all coming together. I did take and file a little bit down on this surface of the block here to get everything to sit a little bit more flat. There was actually a little bit of a high spot here. Took that down, and everything is sitting pretty darn good. There's one little spot in here where there's, a couple foul gap, but I'm pretty happy with how that's all coming together. Kind of out of time here. I gotta go make Easter supper here, but I wanted to get it back in the tractor to confirm that, these holes are going to work. And then if they do, I can take it all back apart again, and I think we're good, like I said, to rivet in that baffle for good now. So yeah, we'll come out and work on it again next weekend, most likely, and maybe we'll commit to getting that in, and maybe even getting like this and this together for good. I'll have to get some gasket material, make some gaskets. And then we'll have to figure out a for sure game plan on this front seal and get that project going. But yeah, slowly but surely, we're picking away at it, making some good progress. Okay, well, I thank you all for watching. I hope you had a good Easter, and I will see you all next week. Later.